Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Jen Whitney, and I'm the Director of Marketing at ASTA. I will also be the organizer and one of your presenters for today. We also have on with us Valerie Malecki from Totally Tuscany Villa and Tours, who will be joining us. She's also our producer for this educational journey to Italy. Before we get started, I'd like to point out a few important features on your screen that will allow you to interact with us via the web. We will be answering your questions at the end of the presentation. To ask a question, you will use your GoToWebinar pane. Near the bottom of this pane is an area that says Questions. If you click on the arrow next to where it says Questions, it will open up a window pane. This is what you will use to communicate with us. If you are having trouble hearing the presentation, please make sure your speakers are turned on. If you called in, try hanging up and dialing back in again. You can send me any technical issues via the Questions pane, and I will try to answer them. I will respond to you via the same pane. Also in this window, there is an area labeled Handouts. Here is where you can find a downloadable PDF copy of today's presentation. Be sure to download this PDF, which includes contact information before the webinar has ended, as it will be the only time it is accessible. Please also note that all audience members are muted. We certainly want to hear from you, but we have so many of you on the call that background noise would be prohibitive, and we want to ensure that everyone can hear us. Finally, remember that this webinar is being recorded, and it will be available for on-demand viewing at apps.org later this week. Okay, now that we've gone through some housekeeping, I'm going to go ahead and start us with our webinar. So welcome everyone on the phone who is joining us today. We also have with us, as mentioned, Val Malecki. Hi, Val, are you on with us?
Yes, I'm here, Jen. Hi, everybody.
Hi. So Val is an ASTA member, and she is the producer, as I mentioned, of this educational journey to Italy. So we're very, very excited to be bringing this exclusive, luxurious, what I say, the ultimate Tuscany experience to you, our ASTA members. To give you a little bit of background of what we're going to be talking about today, is we're going to go through the full details of everything that you're going to experience as far as the day-to-day detail, also what's included and what really makes this educational journey unique. Now, if you're new to ASTA, educational journeys is also known as familiarization trips, or FAMs. At ASTA, we rebranded this about a year ago as we wanted to make sure that FAMs are an educational experience. So with this, in August, we went to our members and we asked our members, where are your clients going that they're looking to have some more information on, or where are your clients looking to travel in the next year or so? Really to help us develop where we should be looking at educational journeys and our international events. And Florence was actually one of the #1 top picks. So we're really excited to be working with Val and creating this awesome itinerary for you. We have 3 available options for this educational journey. The itinerary will be a Saturday through Friday. We have the first one starting April 25th through May 1st. The second will be May 2nd to May 8th, and then October 10th through the 16th. Now, before we really get into the details of what this educational journey entails, I'm going to actually turn it over to Val, who is really, she is awesome at explaining exactly what you're going to experience. What you see here on your screen is our accommodations. So you won't be staying at a hotel. You are staying at a luxury villa, and this is in the Chianti region of Tuscany. I mean, imagine waking up and seeing the Tuscan hillside and the rolling landscape of the Chianti region. I mean, that in itself just sounds absolutely glorious to me. Now, can you give us a little more insight on the importance of knowing what you're going to experience with these villas?
Sure. Well, there's a huge difference in staying in the Chianti hillside, in the countryside. First of all, our luxury villa is located in what we call in Tuscany the Golden Triangle. And that means we are in the heart of Tuscany, between Florence, Siena, and Pisa. And what's really excellent about that is that every day when we go out to explore, we have a nice distance to get to any section of Tuscany. And the logistics of that work really well because it enables us to see more, do more, and really explore Tuscany on many levels. Tuscany itself is considered to be one of the most beautiful regions of Italy, and there's something for everybody there. If you're a foodie, a wine lover, a history buff, maybe an art enthusiast, you will be able to discover the rich culture. And by staying in a villa like this, while you're at the villa, you get to relax in the most peaceful, historic view. This view from Villa Pozzo actually extends all the way to San Gimignano, and it has been the same view going back over 1,000 years ago. And while you're there, you could take a walk through the hillside. You could sit at one of the many outdoor locations and just relax and have a bottle of wine. But once we go out to explore the region, we can go in any direction, and we are going to be discovering the best of what Tuscany has to offer.
Great, thank you for that explanation. I am so glad that you're on here, because there's no way I could have explained exactly what that entails. So, I mean, when Val came to ASTA with this, just that alone was, I could picture myself, like you said, sitting there outside with a bottle of wine. That sounds like my ultimate experience.
It is. And what's nice about the villa, when you look at it, you see one large villa, but inside there are individual apartments. There are about 10 apartments. So you don't only have one room that you're staying in, like your bedroom. You have a sitting area, a little kitchen area if you want to make yourself a cup of tea, and you have your bathroom. Sometimes you have a terrace or different window views. And there are general areas. The whole villa inside in the common areas has original antiques, piano, original antique furniture. It has that old Tuscan charm, yet it has been renovated to be very comfortable. So you have your privacy, you have your comfort, you have your own apartment, but yet you're within the group, and it's just a wonderful way to be staying in that area. And also, everybody will be getting a nice welcome basket, so you'll have what you need to make something for yourself or have a little snack. And there are going to be a lot of touches on this tour so that you will feel right at home. Except now your home is going to be the Tuscan hillside.
Not a bad place to be. Not a bad place to be. So now that we've gone into where you're going to be staying, I just briefly did an itinerary at a glance of what you're going to be experiencing and all the different pieces of it. Now, you can go on asta.org/educational journeys and click on the link for this particular educational journey to learn more. But Val's also going to be here on the line to give us a little bit more in-depth look at what each day entails. So, you know, you're going to be visiting many of the different places, lots of different wineries. You're going to Pisa, Florence, a very special Bocelli day, which I'm excited Val's going to give us some more information on. And also just that very, very unique experience of everything being customized and perfectly planned from Val. She knows exactly, you know, with her expertise, she knows exactly what your clients are going to be looking for. So you know, full faith that she is going to be bringing some of the most exciting parts to this educational journey. Now, what's included? We'll go a little bit more into pricing at the end of the webinar, but I had to show you exactly what is included. I mean, this is very exciting, you know, just based on everything, and not much you have to worry about. Just getting there and getting home is pretty much it. Your accommodations, you know, the accommodations that Val mentioned, 6 nights accommodations at the special luxury villa, transfers from either the local airport station, airport from Florence or Pisa, or the train station in Florence to the villa will be provided. Also, the luxury private bus transport to all the different parts of the places you're going to be attending on the tour, specialty chef dinner, a Prosecco welcome party, which Val will go a little bit more into as well. You know, you're going to be getting the authentic feel and taste of Tuscany, and also being part about it, being a part of making that with a 4-course Tuscan cooking class. Your breakfast and dinner is provided daily. Like I said, you have the wine tours and tastings of all the boutique wineries. And one of the really coolest parts of all is you're going to have, you're going to go to Andrea Bocelli's private museum, and you'll get a special tour actually from his mother. Again, Val will go a little bit more into detail with that. So Val, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you. If you want to just get us kicked off with kind of the first day and what you're going to experience.
Okay, well, I just wanted to mention regarding the itinerary, I want everybody to understand that this itinerary was developed with their comfort in mind. So I give you a chance to get acclimated once you've had your international flight, you traveled, you want to settle in. When you arrive at the villa, what I have available is a massage therapist, and I will allow everybody to make a reservation if they want ahead of time. So when you arrive at the villa, you're going to have a chance to relax, settle in, enjoy the estate, learn about where you are. We're going to have a variety of activities for the whole week with spectacular cities as well as the countryside. When you arrive, what's really wonderful is to have a chef's dinner. And we have a special chef, Elisa, who comes from San Casciano. It's where Machiavelli is from. And what's special about where she comes from is that she farms most of the ingredients she uses in her meal. So it's farm to table. And they have special production of cheeses and meats that are native just to that particular town. And Elisa is an expert in pairing these different flavors together and creating some unique flavors with an old world feel. And she has a passion for food. And what's nice, we start with our Prosecco welcome party, and we're going to have some specialty Prosecco that you can only get in Tuscany, and we'll have a tasting of that. And you'll start to meet the people that are going to be there helping you during the tour. We have a fantastic guide, one of the top guides in Florence, Pisa, and the whole entire region. She's going to be staying with us at the villa, and she will be presenting some of the information. So you're always learning about where we are, what we're doing, and the history behind it. You'll be meeting the chef. She'll be talking about what she is being created. And we also have the wine estate for the villa we are staying on. Family is going to be presenting their wines and pairing it with our dinner. So it's going to be a taste sensation. It's going to be fun. You'll get to meet all the other advisors and everybody on the tour. It's going to be a relaxed environment, and it's all al fresco. So we get to sit back and look at the hillside and relax and just take it all in. And that's how we kick off the tour. And just so you know, I live in Tuscany part-time, and I've had clients from 27 different countries in the world. And the number one thing that everybody has loved is having a chef's dinner when they arrive. It's just relaxing, and it welcomes you to the area. So I just know that everyone's going to enjoy that and the whole atmosphere.
Definitely. And I also want to point out, you know, the images that we're using in today's presentation are actually from Val. These are pictures from some of the events and activities that you've done for your clients. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes, I've been producing weddings. We've had some private tours, and we've had large group tours. And what I love about bringing people to Tuscany is watching them discover these fantastic sights and sounds and tastes. And it's been a real joy. And I have about 5,000 pictures because everything is a moment when you're there. And every dish, no matter what you eat, is just special in a different way. And you're going to find that you're going to come home with tons of pictures because every moment is a special moment.
Of course. And it's a place where the calories don't count, I'm sure. So
well, actually, you know, recently I learned that there's a special milling process that they use for their flour. And because of that, you actually don't get that full feeling or the bloat. And it's why the Italians, as much pasta as they eat, you don't really see it on them. So that was interesting for me to learn. Also, the way that you have the wine, the fresh wine, the local wine with the meal, and a lack of preservatives in everything you're having, you can really eat and enjoy things without feeling discomfort. And that's really something that I think everyone will be surprised at, because all week you will be eating and drinking specialties and delicacies from all different regions. What's interesting about Tuscany is that any region you go to has their own particular specialties, and they do it their own way, and it's been like that for hundreds of years. So you'll get to explore that. And also, one side note, in case anybody has any sensitivities for gluten, any allergies, anything at all, Tuscany is excellent in accommodating what you need. So I'll take that information from everybody that will be coming on the tour, and we'll make sure that you'll get everything you need, or whatever you can't have, you won't have to have. We have a lot of excellent vegetarian choices, and there are a lot of gluten-free choices. So don't be afraid if you have any kind of allergies or sensitivities. That's important to know.
Sounds great. Thanks, Val. Now, why don't you give us a
Yeah.
little bit of background now on day 2, now that we have a good
Sure.
introduction of what to experience?
Well, day 2 is San Gimignano, and this is a medieval city that goes back to the Renaissance, even before then. It was a lot of noble families that lived in those tall towers. It has a really unique history, and it's a lot of fun. And this day, we're doing things within San Gimignano and the medieval city and around it. So there are 3 things that we're going to do. One is the main city tour. So our guide is going to give us a walking tour of the history and show us and explain to us everything we're seeing. What's great about that is a lot of people might have been to San Gimignano before, but if you haven't had a tour and learned all about it while you're looking at it, is a big difference. There's a very old cathedral there with original paintings that at that time people weren't able to read, so the Bible was painted on the wall. It's very interesting. There are modern contemporary art museums that you can walk into. There's also the world's best gelato. There are 2 famous places that always rival for the top position, and there are a lot of artisan shops. So if you really wanted to pick up a leather wallet or bag, or maybe a hand-sewn basket, or something really purely Tuscan made by hand from a native, this is the place you can do it. We're also going to be taking a cooking class, and Chef Mauro is just my favorite. He has so much insight into all the techniques that Tuscan chefs use. So what's nice about his cooking class is that you really have a lot of different items that you're making. So you're going to be baking a Tuscan bread, and it's amazing how easy it is to do that. You're going to be doing a hot appetizer. You're going to make fresh pasta by hand, and once you learn how to do it, many people always contact me after getting home and say, we have our pasta night and we make our fresh pasta just like we did at the cooking class. So that's a lot of fun. You learn how to make a Tuscan sauce, and then normally you do a roast, and you learn how to use the herbs with the roast, and then we also have dessert. And you see the famous tiramisu of Mauro there. It is as creamy as it looks. The last activity we have for the day is at a boutique family winery near the gate of San Gimignano. What's beautiful is that you have the view of the towers of San Gimignano. It's a lovely family. It's an organic boutique winery, and they share with you their techniques in the vineyard to keep it organic, and you get to taste it. They have been producing and elevating their game every year, and they have been producing this past year some really even expensive bottles of wine. But whatever price point they're at, it's just wonderful to taste and wonderful to meet them. So we're going to be splitting the group on that day so that half of the people will be in the cooking class while the other half do the tour and the winery. And then we switch. This way you're never overcrowded, you're always comfortable. And just in case you're not a person that really wants to cook, you could just stand by, sip wine while everyone does the work, and then sit down and have the meal, and you get more wine then too. So it's very free. You never have to feel pressure to have to keep up or do something you don't want to do, but it's all there for you when you want to.
Great. All right, and let's move on to day 3.
Okay, day 3, we're going to go to Greve and Lucca, and this is more in the northern part of the region. Greve is just below Florence. It's in the Chianti Classico wine region. It's one of the most famous wine growing regions in the world, and we're going to a special hilltop hamlet, and the owner of this winery and of the hamlet is a doctor of vinacology. Her name is Elena Bindinelli, and she gives one of the most interesting tours. There's actually a microclimate because they're up in this mountainside, and the wine is just incredible. The price point is actually very low, and when you taste the wine and you learn about it and you see the vineyards and you see the process, she's going to be doing a presentation for us as well. If you'd like to have wine shipped home, you will have that opportunity. If you want to buy a couple bottles just to have with you at the villa, you can do that as well. But it's informative, it's tasty, you get to try everything, and she's also a chef in her own right, and many times I've worked with her to produce weddings or some villa dinners, and what you will try some of her local delicacies. You will also see when we're there, she has a gorgeous rental villa, and I have people from around the world that rent it. I work with her as well, and I'm going to show you the property and the villa so that if you have clients that you want to send to Tuscany, this is also an option for you as a rental. So you're going to also be seeing things that will help you in your agency and in your business, and it will show you the opportunity of what you can sell and what's available. And you'll be meeting all the owners of every business wherever you go. So you do make that connection. After Greve, we head north to Lucca. Lucca is a fabulous medieval city. It has so much to offer. For a long time, you didn't really hear that much about Lucca, and people weren't really going there the way they go to Florence or Pisa or even San Gimignano. But as of late, it started to become really popular. What's interesting is there is a lot of local legend dating back to Jesus on the cross, which you learn about. They have Puccini's organ, which is really interesting. There are works of art in the cathedral that are very similar to Da Vinci's work. So we have a full walking tour of the city, and you'll get to see that there are a lot of shops. It's very modern and old at the same time. So you do get free time to explore on your own after we have the tour, and then we're going to have a fabulous meal there. And Lucca is known for its ravioli. So if anyone likes ravioli, you're going to be blown away by Lucca's ravioli, I can assure you. And Lucca's wine production, which is a little bit more north of Lucca, is really excellent and is something you really don't see in any shops or any large production. It's mainly used in restaurants here. So this is a great time to try something really different, really delicious. And I'm originally from New York, and I can tell you, I've never been to any restaurant in Manhattan that rivaled these raviolis. So I hope you're all going to be there to try that.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah.
Can't wait. Yeah, no, these, just the pictures in itself, as you can tell, I mean, this is an absolutely gorgeous location. And I think, Val, you really bring out the excitement of what each of these places are going to bring to our attendees. And I think you made a really, really good mention of, you're going to walk away with new contacts because you have, kind of making your home network in Italy, if you will, because you'll have the experts and those that actually, help to put on these, specific activities at the wineries. So that's really important.
Yes, and a lot of
Okay.
people today are looking to do even destination weddings or have large family reunions or travel together with a group of friends. It's very popular today. So to be able to have these various villas that you're going to see that you know and can explain to your client and have the support to develop an itinerary for your clients and to rent these villas, it can really be a boost to your business because you have something wonderful to offer and it's firsthand. So on day 4, this is my favorite day too, Jen. You know, I'm just the biggest fan of Andrea Bocelli, and every year I go to his outdoor concert in Teatro del Silencio, and I've come to know the family, and I've been doing some work with Alberto Bocelli, the brother of Andrea, and they are just the most gentle, kind, and warm family, and they represent the region so well. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually start in Pisa. And we're going to have a walking tour, and we're going to discover the Miracle Fields, the Leaning Tower of Pisa, the main things within that square. And then we go to all of the important highlights, Cavaliere Square, Chiesa della Spina, actually where Andrea Bocelli has sung in that church quite a few times. We're going to learn the history of it. It's all very interesting and intensive, and we have a few hours of a tour to learn about Pisa and to see everything. And like I said before, even if you have been to Pisa before, to go with our guide. This is her hometown. Many generations of her family. She comes from Pisa. She has insight and information, and she has a very lovely way of explaining it to bring that history alive, and she's very engaging. And I always marvel at the fact that I've been to a lot of these places before I've done the tour with the official guide, and I can't believe the difference. So I think everyone will enjoy that. And from Pisa, we stay in the Pisa district, but we go into Laiatico, and that's the home of Andrea Bocelli. So first we go to his outdoor amphitheater, so you can go and stand on the stage and take a few pictures, and if you have a good singing voice, maybe give it a try. And from there, we go to Bocelli Officine, which is their restaurant, their cafe, and their little home. So upstairs, there is a private museum. And Andrea Bocelli's mom, Edie, is going to give us a viewing of his private museum with his piano, his awards. They've done a great job with writing out the history, and even just being in the Bocelli Cafe, you have the music playing, you have pictures from their lives, and the best part, in this photo, you see Andrea's mom holding the autographed booklet. That was the booklet that I bought and brought it home and had it framed. And you can buy autographed pieces, whether it's a CD, a booklet, even a Bocelli wine opener. They have lots of gifts, and they're not overcharging. You pay the same price for the CD. They do it for fans, and they're just, like I said, lovely. And what's wonderful is the Bocelli family is going to give us their wine tasting. The nephew of Andrea is going to pair the wines with our meal, and we have the Bocelli chef cooking for us. So it's a really lovely, relaxing, and fun evening. And they are so lovely, they'll let you take pictures. So you'll go home with your pictures of his family. And I just think it's heartwarming, and everyone's going to really enjoy that.
Yeah,
It
that's
makes,
definitely an experience that you can't get many
no.
places, and it's so good. You have these personal connections to really bring this, to our members who will be attending, but also to their clients who want to sell, a tour like this.
Yes, and previously, the tour participants that I've had said that because of my connections that I have with the owners of various restaurants, wineries, even the Bocellis, that it made them come to a foreign place and feel like a VIP. And I loved that feedback. I thought that was wonderful because that's just such a great feeling when you go to a foreign country to all of a sudden feel so welcomed and feel so at home. It just stays with you in your heart. And when you talk to clients that want to go, that will come out and you will have that experience. And even if you can't bring them into the Bocelli Museum, just sending them to the cafe is something. I have private clients that I do an itinerary for, and they just love to go there, have a glass of Prosecco, have a dish of the local prosciutto, and hear the music, and it's lovely. So it's a great experience, and like I said, it'll build your repertoire on what you can offer to your clients.
For sure, and it's always extremely important to beef up your Rolodex, if you will.
Right.
Yeah.
And
so, go ahead.
yeah. So on day 5, we have our Florence day. Now, first, we enjoy a 3-hour guided walking tour. What's great about the walking tour is that you're walking like a Medici in the center of the historic part of Florence, and you're learning about what you're looking at, why these buildings were built, what was happening at that time when the Medici started their rule, and how did they come into power. And you just learn different things about the city and the art there, and it's just so much in depth, and so many famous things that even the Ponte Vecchio, which you've seen pictures of so many times, to be able to stand there and take a picture is nice. And you're going to be in every one of these locations, not only to learn about it, to see it, to have your photos. After the walking tour, we're going to go into the Accademia, and you get to see the Statue of David, take your pictures. That's my picture that I took there. I have, like I said, I have 5,000 photos, so you can imagine how hard it is to narrow things down. But it's really lovely because you learn about why there are misproportions in the statue, and you learn information where if you just walked into the Accademia, you really wouldn't understand the difference of what you're looking at. It's a really informative tour, and you see, as you see listed, you see a lot of all the special things in that historic area. But after that, we like to give you free time because you want to explore on your own, and you want to get out there and like I said, just have a gelato, walk around, relax, whatever you like to do, buy some souvenirs. And after, what I've added to the tour recently is we're going to head back towards the Chianti countryside, and we're going to a special boutique winery where we're going to have a wine tasting and pairing class with a wine expert and the owner, Pier Luigi. It's an incredible class. All of the clients that I've had that take it just love it. You learn how to aerate the wine, even how to hold the glass. There's a lot of details you learn about, and you learn how to pair. And all of a sudden, the wine develops, and your taste of it develops, and you really gain a palate. So they're going to be creating their family recipe of Nona's lasagna. You also get these specialty meats and cheeses, so we're going to have a whole dinner with the wine, and it's a beautiful service. And after that, I can assure you, with all the fresh air and the walking tour we had, followed by 8 glasses of wine from throughout Tuscany, you're going to have a good sleep that night. And as soon as we get back to the villa, I kind of expect it to be very quiet, because I could tell you, when I first met with the owner as an agency to learn about, what they do in the wine, and I had those 8 glasses of wine, I had about a 5-hour nap after that. So
call it an early night.
Right. But this is what's nice about the tour. When we have a big, heavy day like this with the walking tour in Florence and then the wine, the next day we have a later start. So you have the evening to yourself. You have a little bit of a later start the next day, and it sort of balances things out. And I like to manage that for people so that you never get exhausted. You have a good flow. And I think that's important in a tour.
Yeah, that's definitely, one thing that to definitely mention is that, it'll be based on, the time that you get back and having that not so early start in the morning, especially for some who might want to just enjoy their morning by drinking coffee and looking at the beautiful the views that you have. Maybe what time does each night typically end?
Well, let's start with the morning, if you don't mind. We have a very special breakfast that is going to be served at the villa. So we have a local pastry chef that is going to be creating every day for us all the local specialties, cornetto cremas and different pastries, and it's going to be brought in. And we'll also have the meats, cheeses, eggs, and so forth. That's going to be served anywhere from 8 to 9 or 8:30 to 9:30. It's going to be about an hour in the morning. And you'll have a really full breakfast that's going to hold you till we eat later. You can always, while we're out, if somebody needs to catch a bite, it's easy to do while we're walking through one of the cities. And anytime we have wine tastings, I always have them provide some food so you have something to have along with the wine. So our mornings, you'll get when we start the Prosecco party, that's when I give everybody our itinerary, our start times, and always before, when we end a day, you'll just get a recap for the next day, what the timing is and what to expect. After the breakfast, we give you about 15 minutes to go back to your room, get everything prepared, and then we get on the bus. We normally come back anywhere from 5 to 6 p.m. and we're having our meal while we're out. So when you come back, you really have the whole entire evening to relax, which is nice. So it's a full day, but you have a lot of downtime in the evening.
Yes, that's great. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that we had mentioned that, of course, because I think that is also one good thing to mention is that, Val's really spaced out this itinerary so that you're getting the best of everything. You'll be able to feel a little bit relaxed, but, never feel, that you don't have anything to do, but also, again, having that downtime. So maybe you can help us to finish off with one of our last full days of the itinerary.
Well, on our last day, we're going to head south. And what's nice is by the time we do this last day, you'll have been north, south, east, west, and smack in the middle. And it gives you a good idea of how it is to travel through the different areas of Tuscany, because sometimes you get rolling hillsides and other times you get highway roads. And those are important things to see and learn when you sell travel in Tuscany. But on this particular day, we head to really the most southern town of Montepulciano. And Montepulciano is a big town, but we're going to be going to the historic area. And we have a bit of a walking tour. There's a famous cafe with, I think it's a World War II history that you learn about. So we have that historic part of it. From there, we head to the Abbey Sant'Antimo. This is a very historic place. Before the Pope was in Rome, at one time, this abbey was the head of the church, and you're going to learn the history of it. It's very important history, and see that. And the Brunello winery that we're going to is connected. It's the royal family, Piccolomini, that was related to the Abbey Sant'Antimo. So we are going to take a wine tour and see a larger wine production. This winery actually ships their wine to an importer in New York. So it's different from the boutique wineries that we see because they do have a larger production. But what's interesting is Sangiovese is one of the primary grapes in Tuscany. But when Sangiovese is grown in Montalcino, that is the only wine that can become a Brunello. So it's an interesting history of wine that we learn about. And this bottom picture here on the right shows you where we're going to have a setup for an outdoor wine tasting and presentation. And we will be overlooking the vineyards. So it's a really interesting, and you'll start to see the difference from the boutique winery to the larger production wineries, and you'll get to taste the difference of that wine that's produced in Montalcino. So it's a really fun and interesting day. And from there, we go back to our villa where we're going to have a farewell chef's dinner. And Chef Elisa is going to cook an entirely different menu so that you can try lots of other recipes. And we're going to, while we have our farewell dinner, I'm going to make a presentation to everybody about how to sell travel in Tuscany. Now that you've seen everything and experienced it firsthand, I'm going to sort of educate everybody as to the pitfalls of selling travel in Tuscany presently and how to build an itinerary and different points. And I think it will help you and give you a lot of information to take back home with you to develop your own ability to sell travel in Tuscany. Like I said, during the stay, you not only see the villa we're staying in, but you will see other rental villas that I work with, and you will meet all the restaurant owners, winery owners, and you will also get agency packets on some of the wineries. For example, when we go after Florence for the wine tasting and pairing class, they offer a whole range of agency services, and they have a beautiful presentation of those packets, and the owner is going to present that to you. So we're going to wrap up the tour with that kind of selling techniques and points, and we're going to recap, you know, everything that we did for the week, and then sit back and eat and drink for one last time out on the hillside.
That sounds great. And just going into, of course, the next day is the departures. You will be have a complimentary transfers to, as we said, the Florence Pisa airport or the local train station, of course. And then if you decide you want to go off to, you know, visit another part of Italy, that's completely up to you. So Val, thank you so much for that very detailed itinerary. So glad, as I said before, to have you on here. I think there was no one else that could explain just how incredible this educational journey is. And I will say, actually, Val came into our office. Our headquarters are in Alexandria, right outside of Washington, D.C. And she drove up from North Carolina and sat down with me for about 3 hours, I think. And I was just in awe. I'm like, wow, this to me is, this is the ultimate, almost, if you will, the eat, pray, love experience. I mean, this as a traveler, I work in marketing for Asta. I don't sell travel, but I sell the destinations of what we're doing. And me as just a traveler itself, this is definitely an itinerary that I know myself and even some of my friends would definitely want to do. I went to Italy last year. I went to Florence for a couple of days with a group of girlfriends, and certainly didn't have an experience quite like this. So might have to do a redo for sure.
Yeah, and I think then what makes a big difference, if I may, is the fact that everything is handpicked for you, and it's something that is all the work has been done. So you're just showing up and enjoying and experiencing it, and you don't have to figure anything out. And then to have such a high-level top guide, even our transport, these are the top people in the region of Tuscany. And I am one of the companies that has been handpicked by these businesses to work with them. So it's not, it takes a lot. It took a lot of years to get to this point. And like I said, I live in Certaldo part-time. So I've become part Tuscan at this point. And so it really is my passion to let everybody else experience it, because it really is just wonderful.
That's great. That's great. And very good to point out that you are basically a local at this point.
Yes.
Now, just to kind of go into the rates here, I mean, you've seen what you're going to be able to experience, and I think, you know, the way that we price this is it's very, I think, what's the word I'm looking for? It's affordable, and I mean, I feel like you are getting what would be probably a 5-star first class experience that you really can't get anywhere else. And again, something that you can duplicate and replicate for your clients. So we do have a travel advisor and guest rate, double occupancy at 2,650, and then a single occupancy that's at 3,200. Now, if you're not an AFTA member, we'd still love for you to join. If you're a travel advisor and not a member, the price would just be increased by $199, and that would include your first year of AFTA membership. So not only will you, get access to this event, but also other types of educational journeys and events with being parts of this. Now, just again, going into this slide, as I'm looking at this, I do not think that May 2nd is a Saturday. I think that it is a Saturday. Yes, sorry.
And I wanted to mention something about the dates that we picked. What's really important to know is that these dates put us in Tuscany in the warm weather. Sometimes you might need a sweater in the evening, but it's really lovely there at that time. You don't have the heat, you don't have the crowds, and it's very easy to be able to move around and enjoy it, and it's a really wonderful time for anybody. So even if you have health concerns, you don't have things that you're dealing with at this time, it's a great time to go. And October is also a wonderful time. Those shoulder seasons for me are the best times to have a tour group because you really get the best of everything there. And the owners are able to give you their time and you get to enjoy everything. And the October time is right after the harvest. So that's also a fun time to be in Tuscany. But spring and fall really works well.
Great. Yeah, so we're going to actually go into a couple of questions that we have here. So one of the questions is this itinerary something that can be duplicated for their clients?
Yes. And that is the base of this familiarization educational journey, so that it is something that you can offer your clients. And you can do it on a basis of having a large group or maybe just a small group or a family. It's something that can be, you can work with any size because there are certain factors. We have different villa sizes, we have different bus sizes, and there are many factors that you can tailor it to exactly who your client is. And that's what I'm also going to teach you while we're there.
That's great. So you're definitely getting that educational component of this familiarization trip. We do have a couple who have mentioned, where there seems to be a lot of really great options for wine pairing and, trying the different types of wines. Now, what about those non-wine drinkers? Are there other options that would be available for them? Maybe a juice pairing or an olive oil tasting of sorts?
Well, we do have the olive oil tasting, which I didn't focus on here, but all of the wineries that we go to have their different olive oils, and we actually will be doing olive oil tastings. You can have juices, and you also have the local meats and cheeses. So even if you're not having the wine, it's interesting to learn about it and to hear about it, but you will be having your juice and you will do your olive oil tasting. In the tasting and pairing class that we do after Florence, I think they have about maybe 4 or 5 different olive oils that we taste. They have truffle olive oil, they have the spicy olive oil, they have all different variations. So you will be doing that as well. It's just easier to focus on the wine. But you'll have...
I totally understand it. That's okay. Yes. Yeah, I mean, that's what you think of, obviously, when you go to the Tuscan region, but also there is that olive oil component. So I'm really glad that we had one of our members ask about that, because that's, for some, and again, that's great.
Yeah, and in Tuscany in general, they are very sensitive to people's needs, and they will have a service for you since you're not doing the wine tasting. And I will be taking information from everybody that is booked on the tour to make sure that you will have exactly what you need to have. So you're not going to go to the winery and not have an option. I will have it all set up for you. That is something that I plan to do. So you don't need to worry about that. There's plenty to try.
Great. And I'm trying to, we're getting a lot of good, really good questions, so I'm trying to pair them all together as much as possible. Couple of questions on the actual size of the educational journey. What is the max amount of people that will be on each of these tours?
Well, the main villa that you're seeing in this photo holds anywhere from 24 to 26 people. Some of the rooms in the some of the apartments are a triple apartment. So if you have an agency that is sending 3 people, it's still the same price as the double. But the reason it's the same price, even though it's triple, is because you get a large apartment with a big terrace or more facility. So we have some different configurations, even as far as the bedding, where you have, we have a lot of rooms that have twin beds that can be had separated or put together for a double bed. So we have a lot of different options. We have about 24 to 26 in the large villa, but I have secondary villas. So for the single supplement, I have off of this property another villa. There's actually 4 smaller villas on an estate, and they have 3 bedrooms in each villa with 3 private bathrooms. And if you're a single supplement, you're going to be staying in that villa, and you will be brought to the main villa in the morning for the breakfast, and then the whole tour day, and then you will be returned to that villa. You're still on a private villa estate, and it's close by. So we can sort of expand up to 38, you know, depending on whether it's single or extra doubles that come in at last minute. So we do have quite a big capacity. And we have the 2 weeks in May. If we sell out in October, it is also possible for us to add an additional week if that happens. So our capacity is able to expand because of the sister villas that I have.
Great. And let's see, moving on. Again, with the villa, a couple of questions. One is where there'll be Wi-Fi, and how are the bathrooms in the villas? Is it private or shared?
So there is Wi-Fi. There aren't TVs in all of the rooms, but if you have a device, iPad, laptop, whatever, you can use the Wi-Fi to go on Netflix or YouTube. I do that in my apartment in Tuscany because the Italian TV only has about 3 channels to watch, and there's not much. So anyway, you do have good Wi-Fi. As far as the bathrooms, it depends on the apartment that you have. So the 3-person apartment has 1 bathroom. I have a 2-bedroom apartment with 2 bathrooms. So it's 4 people that have a common space, but each bedroom has their own bathroom. Generally, every bedroom has their own bathroom. Some of the larger apartments share a bathroom. So if you have something specific where you say, I want to have 2 twin beds, and we want to make sure we have our own bathroom just for that room, and you book early, I can assign you your room with that configuration. If you don't like the assignment that I have for the large villa, I can move you into your own bedroom into the secondary villa, and you still are able to enjoy everything just the same. It's just an alternate sleeping arrangement. So I pretty much can help accommodate what anybody is looking for. Unless you come very last minute. I'm sorry.
So, oh no, I was going to say, yeah, no, you know, with those special accommodations and you know, requirements, as you mentioned, Val, make sure you register early. That way, you know, whatever special requests we have, we can accommodate, and then we'll be able to answer those individually. So if you go on register, if you're sharing a room with someone, maybe you're a travel advisor and you're you're either bringing a guest or you want to room with another travel advisor, during the registration process, we will ask you who you will be rooming with if you choose to select a double occupancy rate. And then with your confirmation, you can email meetings@asta.org, and we will make sure to get this information over to Val so that you are being accommodated.
And I'm happy to talk to anybody that has a question about their room assignment, and I will be doing it on the first come first serve basis, and I will do my best to give everybody exactly what they're looking for, and I will give you options. So I will always be available to help you with that. You should feel very comfortable. It's just best to do it sooner, because once everything books up and there are assignments made, you're going to have less choice later on. That's the only difference.
Great. Couple of things. Are there any other fees that any of our attendees should be aware of, like that are not included in the meals? I think that's from Ian saying this correctly.
When typically for a tour, you are served a glass of wine, a glass of water. In Tuscany, they put the bottles of water on the table, and I'm offering extra, you know, across the board on all of the tour days, so that we always have plenty. But if there's something you want to order a soda, you want to have a beer, you're free to order and pay for that. And this is just very typical in any tour that you go on. You always have the right to order something beyond what is being offered to you and served. The other thing that's not included is any of the tips, and mainly it's for the bus drivers and for our tour guide. And that's something that I suggest for everybody to plan on, what would be a typical tip for the driver and for the tour guide. She is staying with us all week, and she's going to be servicing the tour every day and everywhere we go. And she's just really wonderful. So
wow, that's great.
That kind of tip is something that's easy to give, because you just feel like you've gotten so much, you know. But that's the only thing not included would be the tips.
Okay, great. And we have just a couple of questions left, with just a couple of minutes left. So one is more kind of, these two are kind of hand in hand as far as the educational component that you're going to get with this. One is a two-part question, but will there be an opportunity to discuss destination weddings and possibly get info on the venues? And the second part is when we're wanting to create this itinerary for our clients, are we able to add the restaurants and chef tables for our clients too?
Yes, you can do that. So, well, first of all, for the destination weddings, we are going to be viewing 3 villas that host destination weddings, and they are at 3 different price points and 3 different size points. And so when we go to Greve, that's one sort of more rustic destination. Where we're staying at Villa Pozzo, that is one of the most famous wedding destinations in Tuscany, because the city of Certaldo is the top 3 wedding destination in all of Tuscany. And Villa Pozzo is famous for their weddings. And so you're going to be meeting the owner, you're going to be learning what they can do, and the owner will be available, and I'll be available to facilitate any questions you may have that don't pertain to the group, to help you, because I have wedding planners that I can suggest to you. I have a lot of experience relating to the destination weddings there in Tuscany. So I'd be really happy to get that. And when we visit the different villa complexes, you'll learn what your choices are to offer to the guests. And I also had a listing on Wedding Wire for quite a few years. I don't have it anymore, but I learned from about 100 quotes that I worked on per year how to present the wedding proposal and offer it to the client. So I have a volume of information on that I'd love to, if we want to create a subgroup during the tour and sit down on the hillside and talk about it. I'd love to educate you guys on destination weddings. And then as far as offering to your clients, you're going to be seeing the villas that you can offer. Also, when we meet with the Bocellis, they have their farmhouse rental that they do, where you can actually stay at a Bocelli, where the Bocellis grew up, Andrea grew up, and they have a new rental villa that I've been consulting with them on. So you're going to have a lot of options. You're going to learn the restaurants. You're going to see, even with the chef, how when I teach you how to build the itinerary, and I weave in all of these services so people can sort of purchase a la carte the wine services they want, the chef services, and different experiences that we offer. So I'll be talking about that.
Great. And Val, we're just a couple minutes over, but I think the last question I'm going to take is travel to and from. Do you have any recommended airlines or flights, and maybe airport that they would fly into?
Sure. Well, personally, I only fly Delta, and I'm gold medallion on Delta, so I have a lot of perks. What I like to do myself is fly into Paris or Amsterdam, and from there take the flight into Florence. It gets you there very early. It's an easy transfer, and it's typically a really good price. Sometimes flying into Rome is more, and if you fly into Rome, you're going to need to transfer into Florence anyway. So I suggest looking at various cities in Europe that you could just do the transatlantic and then fly into Florence. What's really happening in the region is the flying within the region is very inexpensive. So you want to get the lowest price ticket going over, and then it's sort of easy to go right into Florence. That's my best suggestion. Pisa is also picking up a lot, and more flights are coming into Pisa, and they've extended their time, so it's not only May till September. So I would just look into all your flight options and try to get yourself into Florence or Pisa. If you want to come into Italy and extend your stay and possibly want to go to Florence or fly into Milan or fly into Rome, you could spend a few days in that area and then simply take the train right into Florence, and you'll get picked up at the train station. So that's also easy enough to do, and Milan is a low-priced flight. It's the lowest priced flying into Italy. So if you're looking to save money on your flight, you want to fly into Milan, you could take the train from Milan into Florence, and it's quite easy.
Great. Thank you, Val. Very much appreciate that. Wow. Well, again, this has been a very, very informative webinar, and I'm so glad we're able to take the time to hear what you're going to experience, as well as getting down to some of those questions. If you have any further questions, please email meetings@asta.org, and we will make sure to connect you with Val. Also, you can go to asta.org/educational journeys, where you'll be able to download the full itinerary and get another recap of the costs. I know I'm very excited about this. I'm hopefully going to be joining as well on one of them for all of you. But I want to, again, thank you, Val, for your time today.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
And if, with that, I'm going to go ahead and do some housekeeping follow-up for everyone. So again, thank you again for everyone who stayed with us on this webinar with a couple of minutes over the time. But again, please be sure to download this presentation from the handout section of your GoToWebinar pane before we end today. As I mentioned, this webinar was being recorded, so if you would like to listen to the presentation again, it will be available to ASTA members on asta.org. Thank you to, again, Valerie, for all of you who have joined today. This does conclude today's presentation, and we hope everyone has a wonderful afternoon. Please complete the short survey that will pop up in your screen. And for more information, again, that's asta.org/educational journeys. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you. Bye-bye.